truth. You can't handle the truth.
Good morning. Once again, Jim Beckwith reporting here at End Times Prophecy News. How are you? Coming soon, Americans will be prosecuted for critical posts on Islam, charged with cyber terrorism crimes. Very true. From Christina Layla, who's already been warned that she broke Sharia law, Pakistan Islamic Sharia laws of posting against Islam. That's right. She had to warn Twitter that this is not Pakistan. But it is coming soon to all nations. It will be the Great Tribulation Christian saints who are beheaded by them. Americans will be charged and prosecuted for cyber terrorism crimes for online posts that are critical to Islam. Did you know you can be tried and charged for a cyber terrorism? That's right, you don't kill anyone, but it's cyber terrorism. Because that's what posting the truth is now. It's called hate. It went from PC correct to hate speech, and now it's cyber terrorism. That's right. But you know, just because Daniel 7:25 says this right here, let me just read. He thinks to change times and laws doesn't mean he's changing the news, even though the Washington Times are news. The New York Times is fake news. The Antichrist, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High in the time of Jacob's trouble, or the time of the heathen, Ezekiel 30 verse 3 and Jeremiah 30 verse 7, and think to change times and laws. How do you change the time on a clock? You don't. It's not about time per se. It's about news, because we refer to news as Chicago Times, New York Times, Washington Times, and laws. That's right. They're changing the news. They're rewriting history, revisionist history in schools, making Sharia law a pleasant, wonderful thing. Twitter Legal recently issued this reporter a warning that a tweet posted calling for burqas to be banned in the U.S. violated Pakistan's blasphemy laws. The specific Pakistani blasphemy laws that the tweet violated are punishable by life imprisonment or death, and Twitter happily delivered the threat. But these warnings are just the beginning. Terror-tide CARE wasted no time and blamed Trump supporters, and Islamophobia after the New Zealand mosque shooting. Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, is seeking to exploit the New Zealand mosque shooting to impose Sharia blasphemy laws in the United States. CARE launched an all-out assault on the First Amendment. CARE Research Director Dr. Abbas Barziger said in a presser, "We should not allow these people to exploit freedom of speech. We ask our political leaders to address growing menace of Islamophobia. The perpetrator of this terrorist attack has been inspired by hate mongers in the United States," he continued. But for some reason, all the jihadist attacks across the whole world are not even reported on. And if you try to report on them, any sort of truth from Islam, that's called hate speech too. Boy, Hosea 4, God is about ready to bring his vengeance upon the world. Directly related to the ideas that are carried out on radio shows, TV shows, news commentators, that's the burning smoke. We as a community have to take control and leadership back into our public space. It is not the case that this is some random marginal activity on the internet in some closed dark web or something, he said, adding, "No, this stuff is mainstream now. We have to put a stop to. We have to ask our TV networks to be responsible. We have to ask our social media platforms to be responsible. We have to ask our charities and philanthropic communities to be responsible." Yeah, George Soros, philanthropic. and not allow these people to guide, to exploit freedom of speech, exploit nonprofit covers. These are hate groups, special. Interesting, he says to exploit freedom of speech. To exploit it. Amazing. With a very nefarious agenda, and we have to take that activity back. Who has the nefarious agenda? It certainly ain't the Christians and the conservatives. No. We all know who has the nefarious agenda, and it is you, CARE. You care for nothing but Allah and jihad. So there you have it. CARE has labeled any person or any group that dares expose jihad and criticizes Islam as hate groups. CARE will argue that online criticism of Islam is an incitement to violence and should be charged as a cyber terrorism crime. In fact, it is already happening. A California man was arrested, prosecuted, and hit with misdemeanor charges in 2017 for posting 5 anti-Islam posts on Facebook in 2016. The California Attorney General's office argued the man's comments constituted repeated contact by means of an electronic communication device with intent to annoy or harass. A misdemeanor under California law, reported the Daily Caller. How are 5 posts to an Islamic center's Facebook page considered repeated contact? This was just another way to impose Sharia law onto a concerned American citizen. The anti-Islam posts were completely benign. The man posted 0 threats, and all of his comments fell under the First Amendment protection. And here they are. The terror hike sounds like fun in reference to the center's advertised sunset hike. The more Muslims we allow into America, the more terror we will see. Fact. Practicing Islam can slow or even reverse the process of human evolution. Fact. Islam is dangerous. Fact. The more Muslim savages we allow into America, the more terror we will see. This is a fact which is undeniable. True. Filthy Muslim S has no place in Western civilization. Well, you shouldn't use the S-bomb, but they didn't complain about the S-bomb, do they? Well, no, of course not. Terror Tide Care is working with social media companies to ban people who dare question or criticize Islam. This is their first step. The next step will be to categorize any criticism of Islam as cyber terrorism so they can have Americans arrested for exercising their First Amendment rights. Well, what happens in America happens in California first. Make no mistake, Terror Tide Care is working to criminalize all speech that criticizes Islam as part of their plan to install Sharia law in the U.S. It is our First Amendment right to criticize and question actions inimical to our interests, yet they are working to silence Americans. Wait a minute, Jim. We've had Muslims in America for 60, 70 years and they never had any problem. Bingo. That's the way they infiltrate all nations. There's plenty of sites to prove it. And prove it. Kansas hopes to resurrect proof of citizenship voting law. Good news. Is Kansas just trolling progressives? Because this would be the perfect way to make the open border left go completely insane. Kansas is asking an appeals court to resurrect a law that had required people who were registering to vote to show documents proving their U.S. citizenship. You ain't going to believe the Twitter comments from the left on this. This is just so out of this world wacky. This might have to do with the many convictions for voter fraud in Kansas since 2015. Oh, that's fake news. There's no voter fraud. But right on cue, we're in Nazi Germany. Isn't this illegal? Don't we have a right not to be asked to show papers? This isn't Germany in 1938. What? Cuckoo. Cuckoo, says Ray Ferris. They can't stand their attempts at voter suppression keep getting suppressed by the courts. Or how about they can't stand that their attempts at voter suppression getting suppressed by the courts? Good. I hope this is rejected too. Yes. Or how about this is a poll tax? Or how about how many Kansas citizens have U.S. passports? They cost $110 plus passport photos. That should cut some folks out of voting. Your birth certificates could be forged, probably not a reliable source for proof. Or how about not everyone's reacting negatively? There are 11 plus million illegals in this country. They broke our laws getting in. They steal Social Security numbers to get documents. They have pattern of violating our laws. Protecting the vote is rational. You need an ID to buy a gun. I have no problems with this. Yes, in fact, there should be a background check on every voter registration. Amen to all this. Thank you for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important announcement. Would you like to see most of your illnesses go away? Let me introduce you to the Water Smacker. A new modern breakthrough in science has come to knowledge, ridding your body of many toxins through this state-of-the-art new technology. The testimonials are endless. People have been healed of shingles, pancreas survivor healed, colon cancer patient healed. Your skin returns its oil back to itself and elasticity. Gray hair goes away. Look younger. Red blood cells return to being round. Plaque in your arteries is wiped out. Blood pressure is lowered. Feel stronger and have more energy. Return to a more youthful feeling and look. Pick up your Water Smacker today for only $350, and don't forget to mention Brother Jim sent you. The link is down below, along with the website and other videos for a much longer description. Thank you.